aboard for a ride with the South Links and Peterborough section of the VMCC. We're off on our April showers run today, although there seems to be no chance of showers. The sun is amazing. Let's get going. Barry's leading off on a Triumph, closely followed by Eddie on a Matchless. I'm on a Matchless too, a G3L WD, a 1941 bike, a genuine dispatch rider's bike from World War II. I'm slightly nervous this morning because I've just finished a 3-week overhaul of the bike, which ended up in a bit of a rush at the end. I finished at 10 o'clock last night. We didn't have time to test ride because it was dark, and as you can see I don't have a proper headlight. She got a 3-mile run this morning and now we're off for about 100 miles today, so fingers crossed. We leave the Waterside Garden Centre near Baston and head south directly into the sun. Well, the old girl feels reassuringly strong so far, and as we just turn left before the village of Gretford, I notice that the acceleration's fantastic. She sounds great. The only thing is that when I roll off the power, there's a little pop every now and then. I think there's a little bit of a gap between the exhaust header and the cylinder, and sometimes a bit of air gets in there and we get a little pop as we get a detonation down the exhaust. I quite like it. We're snaking our way now between the village of Gretford and the town of Stamford. These roads are good and we follow them quite a lot. One of the advantages is that it allows you to cross the East Coast main line without having to stop at a level crossing. The camera makes these roads look quite smooth, but actually the number of tree roots going underneath the road surface makes them fairly bumpy. My bike's got a rigid rear end, in other words there's no suspension on it, just big springs underneath your seat. But it was one of the first mass-produced bikes to have telescopic forks, and they work really well. After the Matchless G3L, pretty much every bike had telescopic forks because people saw the benefit of them. In the village of Uffington, we come to a stop as we join the busy A1175, which will lead us into Stamford. Barry misses the first opportunity to pull out because he stalled his bike, but fortunately nobody notices. Just in case anybody did, he puts down a nice smoke screen to conceal things. Our youngest rider today is Alex, who's on a very smart Kawasaki 125, and he's followed by his dad, who's on a much bigger Kawasaki, and between them they've got an intercom so they can chat as they go along. What a great way to build experience. Stamford's a lovely little market town, but it does get busy even on a Sunday morning, so it's not long before we come to a stop. And who can blame me for having a good look around the bike, given that this is, in reality for me, a bit of a test ride. Stamford's got some fairly aggressive potholes, and it's interesting that we all take different lines to avoid them. As we emerge from the town, the tyres start to squirm about a little bit as we have a gravel section, which of course we can't complain about because at least they're repairing the potholes. Back onto smooth roads again, and we're soon battering through the village of Ketton. Now, some of you may have noticed that when I change gear, it does sound a little bit like chucking a ball peen hammer into a wheelie bin. But actually, these Berman gearboxes are pretty reliable and pretty smooth. I had the whole gear cluster out a few days ago, and I can tell you, it's built to last. As we emerge from the western side of Ketton, the road opens up and we can start to get a bit of smash on. Father and son team Alex and Adam have a chat on their intercom, but I can't make out a word. Maybe it's some strange Lincolnshire dialect that those of us from Cambridgeshire are not privy to. We pass another railway. This time we go under the main line between Leicester and Norwich.
Back. Back.
Now we turn off the main road and head south across country. We'll go over the A47 and then into the village of Barradon. Now, I've said this before, there's something about Barradon, the Barradon Triangle. People always seem to get lost there. As we stop in Barradon, it becomes clear the riders up ahead are unsure of where to go, and this is because they're using route sheets where if you miss just one turn, it's very difficult to try and orientate yourself and get back. I wait a little while, and then because I know that we need to turn left here to get back on the route, helpfully I push over to the left and attempt to lead them on, but my timing is just off because they're already leaving. Now everyone behind me has a bit of a choice. Do they follow me or do they follow the team that have gone right? Well, luckily for them, they followed me, and we were soon back on the planned route. And what a lovely route it is, although I think this car driver up ahead could have left me a little bit more room, maybe. And this guy's picked today, of all days, to practice his 30-point turn. patient with me, this is a very old vehicle. Yeah mate, whatever. Somewhere behind us there's a third group of motorbikes that set off a little bit later than the rest. So while I pull over and change the battery on my camera, I'll show you a bit of footage from their ride. This footage is taken facing backwards from Martin's bike. He's just rounding up a few strays in Barradon. Martin planned the ride today, and it's sort of traditional for the person who plans the ride to act as sweep or tail gunner at the back of the groups to make sure that we don't lose anybody. As well as planning the ride, rounding up strays and being a generally good egg, Martin also helped me to take off my forks and rebuild them and gifted me a special tool. So without him I wouldn't even be on this ride today, so cheers Martin, you're a star. Proceeding at a gentle and stately pace, they were expecting an uneventful ride, but one member, I'll call him John, mainly because that's his name, decided to inspect a hedge. Perhaps he's interested in the wildlife. Again, it's just a good job that nobody noticed. Back at the front now, and I've unexpectedly become the leader of the ride because the original leaders are a little bit off track, and this is slightly problematic. Not because I don't enjoy leading, but because my single mirror, which is on the right bar end, has worked its way loose, and I don't want to hold everybody up by getting the tools out and tightening it. I'll do that at the cafe, and that means that at every opportunity I've got to twist around and look 180 degrees behind me to make sure that everybody's still safely tucked in, and that's not doing my sciatica any good at all. My bike is easily the least powerful of the group. They had 13 brake horsepower when they were new, and so I need to try and keep the speed up whenever I can. So if I get the chance, I will go wide on a corner to give myself the best possible visibility, as you can see here, so I can keep the speed up. And it's a good job I do, because on this occasion, looking ahead, I can see a horse that's clearly spooked. So we do the right thing, come to a stop and be patient until they can get into a field. I could also unintentionally help the riders behind me, because every time we go to a rough road where there are lots of potholes, I have to stand up because my knees are the rear suspension, and so every time they see me standing up, they know there's a rough bit of road ahead and they can go round it. We're nearing the end of our ride now, and we need to cross the A14. Fortunately, there's a little bridge and we can go underneath it, which is just as well. The A14 is one of the most dangerous roads in Britain, and I think this is probably the best view you can have of it. the village of Woodford now for lunch at the Buttery Cafe, and I have to say we had an amazing lunch, and considering how many people were there, the staff were incredibly efficient and friendly. We will definitely be going back there again. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for riding with the South Links and Peterborough section of the VMCC. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're thinking about joining the VMCC, and why not, we're a friendly bunch, I'll leave a link for you. We'd love to see you. Take care and ride safely. Are you still here? Well, I shall reward you with a bit of extra footage. Something funny happened on the way home.
But Terry's gone to get some for me.
Oh, good. Okay, you said just here.
Yeah, I know. I was on the reserve and I thought it would make it. But they didn't.
Not quite.
It's about another mile, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I'm quite low myself, but I was thinking then I get...
might see him coming back over it.
Yeah, alright. Good. See you in a minute.
The old warhorse comes to the rescue. Slight miscalculation on the fuel then.